Hey guys, how y'all doing out there? Alright, let's get that on, and let's switch over to this screen. Oh, wrong one. I need the live screen. It's gonna be all those days. Okay, so first things first. I've decided to load up my old save game today and give that a go. To show a couple of things, to be honest, today. One is to do with the fishing around the map and such. So that's probably the first thing I'm going to start on. Then I want to touch on the power plants and how they run and such. So for the minute at least, I'm just going to start off with a bit of fishing. So for doing the fishing side of things on PV County, what you need to do is actually own the waterways. So as you can see from my map, I actually own everything. Obviously, for you guys who are just starting off, what you need to do is actually purchase each of these water areas, and depending on where you are, you get different fish. So on the inner waterways, so all these here, they'll have little traps around, and once you own them, what you have to do is allow it to, in essence, rain in game at least once before you can actually start doing the fishing side of things. On the outside of the map, there are actually more traps and triggers for getting fish, and they're for the sea fish, okay, guys? So obviously make sure that the fish hatchery that you have is gonna take the fish you want to take. So obviously you get two types of fish. You get our fish hatchery, you should say. Obviously they're in the shop under placeables and under PV animals. This one just here, okay? What you have to do is scroll across to the right, and here they are. So obviously you've got your ocean fish and your fresh fish, both 29,000 each, which is quite nice, and they both hold 4,000 fish. Obviously I've got some placed down already, which I'll show you in a minute. In addition to these, what you probably will need as well are the fish food makers. Obviously you've got two in here. They both have this exactly same thing. So yeah, they take corn, they take I think it's barley and fish meal, or wheat, one of the two. We'll have a look at it in a minute anyway. Obviously you can buy the pallets if you haven't got any made already from the shop. And in addition to that, you can actually, so one of the things you need is obviously fish meal. So with the fish meal, there is a placeable somewhere in amongst here. I can never remember where the heck it is though. I don't think it's going to be that one. Maybe production. Yeah, there we go. So it's going to be the fish market. And what you need to do is put that down and you add basically your fish, your packaging and pallets to that, okay? Once you've got those in there, you can then start producing your fish meal and fish fillets and so on. Obviously that is an addition if you wanted to, but yeah. So for me, I decided to put my fish hatcheries across the water from Port Fitzgerald, and I've got them right on the shoreline. For a simple fact, you can actually, when you collect fish, you can actually put them, obviously when you collect them with the boats, you can actually load them direct from the boat into the hatcheries. So I've got two freshwater hatcheries and two salt. And with these, obviously you do get the good old feed towers now. chicken pallets full and sheep. Okay. And obviously with it, just like all the other feeding towers, you place it within the trigger, the feed trigger, which is this one here. You add your battery, which you need to get from Dell, and then you just add your pallets. So obviously I've got a fair bit in here already, and you just spawn out 2 at a time, and that should load in. There we go. Now just keep your fish topped up as you go, okay? Obviously with the ocean fish hatcheries, you do also have to have salt added, which you can take from the mines. Obviously I've added the animal pen extension, which gives you the pipes, and you can place them literally anywhere within this area really. Obviously I've got the outlet pipe actually going into this area here, and I've got the valve just sat down the bottom of the ramp here. Obviously if you didn't want to go through with your boat, all you have to do is come up the ramp, hit the R key, and as you can see it's getting pretty full. Actually hang on, that's not even quite right, it's not showing up the fish, which is interesting. Oh, that's what's in stock, is it? Not sure what's going on there, but yeah, you should be able to load your fish into that somewhere here. Let me just check. Okay, but yeah, maybe I've just got enough fish in there for the minute. So, but anyway, obviously some fish can actually produce caviar. I can never remember which ones they are, to be honest, but the best thing to do is go over to pvmods.com and to the article section. They do tell you in there. And obviously the ones that do produce caviar will produce pallets right here. Obviously this has been going for a little while. Oh, hang on a sec. My game's over 25 minutes, there we go. Yeah, so obviously that's the freshwater fish. And obviously there's the fish food makers. So let's just have a look actually. Yeah, it's wheat that they need. So maize, wheat and fish meal. Obviously I do need to get some more fish meal in, and obviously once you've got that in, you can then produce your fish food. And obviously these are the fish markets. Obviously you put your fish in there. It takes quite a lot, to be honest, so you're going to need a lot of fish to start off with if you want to fill it right up. But obviously you've got your pallets that you can get from your pallet factory, and packaging, which you can get from obviously PMS recycling. And then on the opposite side you'll get the pallets spawning. And obviously over here we have the ocean fish. Oh, I don't think I've got anything in here. There we go. So yeah, so I've got them all set up the same with the valve at the bottom. There we go, so that's what you should have. Not sure what was going on with that other one. Maybe I was just not quite in the trigger right. So you get, in the ocean fish, you get your cod, your salmon and your red snapper. Okay, I'll try that other one in a minute. And the same again, once you've got your water flowing in, which you'll need to add. Obviously you can bring a tanker into here if you wanted to and unload into, I think it's this area here. Obviously I've always used the animal pen extension for it. And once again you get your caviar. Obviously it doesn't produce a lot, but it's enough to keep it ticking over nicely. Obviously when they first came out there was a heck of a lot being produced, so obviously that was lowered. And as I said, you do need salt as well. So that tractor just tends to stay there really. Obviously it's a nice spare one if need be, but aye. Right, let's see if I can get it come up on this one. There we go. So there you go. So in the freshwater hatcheries, you'll get your brown trout, your carp, your rainbow trout, pike, perch, catfish, and bass. For some reason, I don't think it's catfish. Oh well. So yeah. Obviously, all you have to do is drive. If you're getting it from a trailer to transport, what you need to do is back up the ramp and hit the R key. Once you're there, you'll be able to then load up fish and unload. Actually, it's quite late in the day, so obviously you get two types of boats that you can use. You got like a speedboat looking one. This is for your inner waters, for your freshwater fish, and then you got your obviously your ocean fish boat there. Okay, and obviously they're both in the shop on the vehicles, and it's PV watercraft stuff. And then you just obviously there's your fishing boat for your inner waters, and then your ocean fish. There you go, and then there's some little bit of fun as well. So one of the things that's quite tricky to find, let me get in here, is the actual triggers for the fish hatcheries. So what I'd recommend, let me just bounce out of this a sec and switch screens over. Hang on. Oh, why's that popping up for? Let me put onto desktop. So if you go into your PV tools, okay guys, so I'll just load this up. That's interesting. Okay, so if you go into your settings, okay, and then go to developer controls, and make sure that this bit shows as enabled, okay? What that will allow you to do is a few things in game, which I'll show you now. So let me switch over to that one. So the key above the tab and just below the escape, I can never remember what it's called, but if you hit that, what that'll do is actually bring up your log file, just like that. Obviously a lot of modders tend to use it more than players, but this is pretty handy to keep an eye on errors and stuff in your log file without actually bringing it up. So one thing you can actually do in addition to that is obviously if you hit F4, you will get the wire mesh view mode. So obviously that's F4, and then just F4 again, and that'll bring it back to normal. Now the one I would recommend, rather than you spending hours and hours trying to find these things, is to hit the F5 tab, and as you can see, you get some funky little doings going on. So obviously it does have a particular name. I never know what it's called, so I just tend to say F5. So to find the actual fish hatcheries or triggers, actually that could be one right there. Might be. I'll come off it for a minute because I know there's a few further down here. What you need to do is just drive around the waterways. And somewhere down here, what you're looking for is yellow sort of coloured boxes. What I would recommend is, because these haven't got the best stopping brakes as it were, is to take your time, especially with the rivers. As you can see, one's just popped up itself now, right in front of us. And this is what you want to look for, okay guys? These are where you want to pick up your fish. So obviously once you owned the waterways and allowed it to rain at least once, you'll be able to actually then start collecting fish from these triggers. So as you can see, bring up F1, so you will get the open animal dialogue pop up in your F1 menu. So all you do is hit R key, and something isn't quite right here, I'm not sure what. Okay, that's strange. Oh, maybe because I emptied them out earlier. I was just testing something out to make sure. So let's see if I find one that's actually full. Nope. Okay. Obviously it hasn't rained enough to produce more fish now, so you have to just go around until you find one that's got fish in it. So hopefully this is one I haven't done yet. Find out in a sec. So if it actually slows down enough. There we go, so obviously you get this popping up, and if you just click back one, you'll be able to actually load in up to 5 fish at a time, okay? Obviously, I just went right out the trigger then. Obviously, it wouldn't show up on your menu or anything, or your screen to say that the fish has been collected. So let me just try and get back in there and show you. Let's turn this off a minute because I don't need it. Because I know that is right around here. Obviously, I would recommend taking your time once you get near one. There we go. So let's try and stop that there. Let's hit our key, click back, and then start, and that's now emptied that trigger. Okay. So obviously, those fish are now transferred into your bow. One thing I would recommend as well, if you're using auto drive, let's bring this up a sec. Drop it down. One way, rather than spending hours and hours and hours going through each time trying to find the triggers, what I would do is use auto drive to actually pin where each of the triggers are. So what I'm going to do is pop record once, and obviously you've got the little pin showing in the middle of the boat there. Then I'm just going to label it as fresh fish trap 1, for instance. Obviously you can change it to whatever you want, and then just do that, and that'll now show you exactly where that trap trigger is, okay? Obviously what you can do then is go through, empty all the ones you've got. Obviously there's a few up here now, so I don't need to have that one now. Obviously that will show on your map as well. So if I bring up, press the 9 key, as you can see there, I've now got a pin in the river showing exactly where that trap is. Obviously the more you get, the more pins you're going to have. Now with this as well, what you can actually do is unload it direct into the hatcheries. You don't have to load it into a trailer, then into the hatchery. And what you want to do is just drive up to the back here, bring that back up. And as you can see, that trigger is now come back up for open animal dialogue. What you do is hit R, and this is what I've just collected from that one trap. Obviously if you do like 3 or 4 or whatever at a time, you can do. Then you just click on it and move them across, and then confirm as you would a normal animal pen. So obviously they've now been added to that hatchery. So in addition, if you didn't want to do it that way, over here you have a freshwater animal dealership, okay? And all you have to do is drive your boat up to there, and you can actually load in whatever you want if you wanted to. Obviously you can actually get them delivered direct as well. You can actually buy fish, I believe, still at the animal dealer on land. Actually, let's pop over there and have a look. Yeah, make sure, because obviously I don't want to be made a bit of a fibber. So bring that up. So we've got chicken coop, Irish cow, duck, goat, pig. Yeah, so there you go. See, you got your fish hatchery 1. There's the other one. Then your ocean fish, and your ocean fish again. So yeah, you can actually buy them from here as well if you wanted to. Transport them in the animal trailer. Obviously, all the PV ones, oops, which is under here, should show in the list at the bottom here how many fish you can actually load into that trailer. Obviously, this one here can do 56 fish. This one can do the 84. That one can do 72. Obviously, you got the right train as well, which is really good, which is 84 on the front part, and you got 144 on the back. Then also you got the Wilson trailer, which is just doesn't seem to do fish at all. So yeah, I'd stick with the right train, to be honest, because they're pretty good overall. Also very handy because you can hook up, say 3 or 4 if you wanted to, and do a big run in one hit. So that's that. So that's basically the freshwater fish covered. Obviously, when you're placing down your hatcheries, one thing I would recommend is try and get it as close to the water as possible. Okay. Let me just bring this up so I can show you. the speed. Alright, so obviously I've got mine pretty close to the waterways there. Obviously too close and it's just going to ruin the side if you wanted to. But yeah, I'd leave it like that. And obviously the trigger, which I will show you, if I bring this up again, for unloading, actually extends out. So if you see this little box here, yeah, so I've literally got a trigger right on the doorstep almost, as it were. So that is your unloading trigger for when it's on the sea, okay? Or on the rivers, I should say. So obviously the same thing again. Oops, I'm stuck. Help! Help! Oh, cripes. Okay, there we go. Don't know what happened there, but got a bit stuck. So obviously you got your ocean fish as well. So it's exactly the same again, okay? Let's turn that off. A minute. 1, 2. I would recommend having one of each, because obviously as far as I'm aware, you can't use like the sea one on like the rivers and the river one on the sea. So they might do, but yeah, have a little play around with that, okay guys? So I'm just going to take a little drive. So they're not the fastest thing, but they do the job anyway, that's fine. So what we'll just do is we'll come down here out to the outer part, which is where all the ocean traps are. Obviously if I bring this up while I'm going down, it's going to be a bit laggy unfortunately, but might be able to spot a few triggers again. So there's another one here. There's plenty around the waterways for you to unload into, so let's have a look. Nope, see, that's not going to throw an error, bet bring that up. Yep, see. So obviously you can't use the ocean boat that I'm in now for the inner waterways. It has to be the actual fishing boat. Let's turn that off a minute. This is the part that takes the longest, really, unfortunately. But we'll get there. Obviously, having that developer control enabled into your game, obviously you do have to do it when your game is shut down, okay guys, before enabling it. As far as I'm aware, it should do it automatically when PV Tools is installed, but I would double check before you obviously load up your game to do any fishing that it is actually active. One nice thing with this same game, I've actually got everything built. I've obviously got all the oil wells down, cleared, so much done on it. It's unbelievable, to be honest, in such a short time compared to, say, Dave, who's got a heck of a lot of, or Dajnet I should say, who's got a lot of time on this map. I think it's like 1500 hours. Obviously I've only got just over 800 on mine. I've got everything built, up and running. Well, they're built at least. I don't know if they're all still up and running at the minute, but yeah. Obviously got the desert over here, which I could touch on in a little bit as well. Obviously you got your silos that you can actually now of the crude oil pump direct into now. Obviously I'll cover that in a little while, but yeah, before, obviously it's going to be a short little video stream today, as there's a few things I need to get on and do. So obviously this is where the edge is for the rivers, so if I slow that down, because I know there's one right on the edge Obviously, once again, there's a little trigger there for your ocean fish. But to be honest, just coming down that river, you're probably going to pass at least 10 of these triggers, or traps, what you want to call them, per fish. So obviously, you just slow down enough, hit the R key, and then you can unload fish. Obviously, these will hold a little bit more than the inner ones, because not a lot of people actually tend to come out to the ocean, so you probably find, like, I've just had a 30. Obviously on the inner ones I had, what, 5 or 6, so yeah, there's going to be a huge difference. Obviously the only issue is there is a limit, so you might have to do a few trips if you wanted to. So it's just, there's this trap right in front of me as well, might as well fill that one up, or empty I should say. The same again, the open animal dialogue popping up. Just do that. See, 14 in that one this time, so yeah. So let's get rid of that for now. But yeah, once again, what you can do with them is use your auto drive to mark where all the triggers are. So you just do one, you can go around if you wanted to, if you've got some spare time, and pin all the different trigger areas for fish. So that will take a while, so maybe you might want to do over a few days or something, but yeah, that would make life a lot easier. Obviously if you've got X-Man's routes already in the map, it will make life a lot easier, because then you're just adding on to what he's added, so you don't actually lose it. A little kitty cat, come on, off. Sorry about that. Out of curiosity, I don't think there's many. There's another one, yeah. So yeah, there's quite a few around here. You just have to go around if you wanted to blind like that and try and find them. Obviously you could be going right past one and you wouldn't even know it. So yeah, I definitely recommend doing the cheaty way, should we say. Get back up to the fish hatchery. Also, you've got to go to the ocean hatchery this time. And obviously, you can change the view as well if you wanted to. You could actually come down. Not sure about that particular view. Or I think the camera on that needs to be slightly adjusted though. One of the actual AI boats going around, which is pretty cool. Shame you couldn't have them picking up while they're going the fish, would be quite nice. Obviously, if you're any good at editing, maybe you could up the speed. It's fine, we're nearly there. So obviously the ocean fish hatcheries are set up the same as the freshwater, where they have the extended trigger going out from behind. So obviously as long as you have the ramp away from the water, you should be fine. here are the freshwater, so the second two. Okay. So you want to slow down. Up. Should be getting it. There it is. So if I just stop at there, I hit R key, and as you can see, we've got a lot of cod. A heck of a lot of cod there, actually. Blimey. Okay. So we'll just move all that across. Obviously, what you probably find is different triggers have different fish. So yeah, there you go, guys. So that is the fish pretty much covered now. Obviously, if you've got any questions, pop it into a comment below, and obviously I'll try and answer it when I can. But yeah, that is the fish covered. So what I'm just going to do is save that for a sec. Obviously, one good thing as well is getting to routine is saving. Obviously, a lot of people leave the auto save on. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. So the other thing that I was going to show was obviously the power companies. Right. I think I've got them all filled up as it is. So what I might have to just do, okay, is, okay, let's go for this one down here. So you've got 4 different power companies on the map. Each power company supplies a different area and a different set of factories. So, obviously this one is Southern Company, and it's obviously down south. So I'll just bring that out so you can see where they are. So there we go. So obviously where I am, this is Southern Company, and that will supply the power to all the factories and your sell points in this area down here. Okay, guys. They don't tend to do anything on the inner one. It's on the outer part of the map. Obviously, up here we've got Duke Energy, and that will produce power to all your factories up and around this area here. Okay, as well as your sell points that's there. You got American Electric. Oh, it's being covered over there. So there we go. And obviously that will supply power to all this over here. Okay, I think it does this at race course as well. Yeah, the racetrack should do all of these. And then finally up north you have PSEG, and that will supply power to all of these factories up around here. Okay, so obviously as you go in, you'll probably just have like 1 or 2 start off with. Once you get, I'm sure it's 3 that you need, and you'll actually be able to do something called the power share, and that allows you to take power from one power station, or yeah, station, and allow it to go through to another station. So you could say, for instance, have I don't know, say 6 diesel generators or modules placed in, say, Southern Company, and then you start up north. What you can actually do is buy that company and not actually put anything down, but allow it to transfer the power across and power up some work some of these other factories that you've got up here. Something you could try. Obviously, there is 4 different options you can actually do for generating power, but I'll cover that in a little while. But obviously, like I said, each power company produces power for different factories, and for instance, this will produce power for Frito-Lay, Heartland Bread, Sam Adams. Let me turn it down a little bit. Excuse me. Wolfie's Pizza, the Gold Medal Flour, the Shell Refinery, Starbucks, which is one of the sell points, plus a museum, which is your sell point as well, and then Dell Electrics. Also, like I said, you can power share if you wanted to, and that's what these three bays are then set up for, so you can actually share it with Duke, PSCG, and American Electric. Then obviously finally at the top here, this is where your charging bay is for your batteries that you use for your feed towers and pallet movers, your lights, stuff like that. Okay, on the map. And what you have to do with them is get a battery pallet from Dell. Okay. So let me just show you a minute. So if I bring this up, this is your global company menu, which is Control G. Scroll down to where Dell is. Click on that. Then you just scroll through, and where the heck is it? There it is, batteries. So there you go. So this is what you need to power up your pallet movers, your lights or light kits, why you want the placeable ones. Also, you need batteries from Dell for your solar panel um, areas as well. So there's going to be these things here, okay? And each power company has a set of these that you have to build. And what you need to add is 5 solar panel pallets from Dell, plus 1 pallet of batteries to each area, okay? Once you've done that, you can actually produce around 500 units an hour. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to bring up some information regarding these power modules that I'm going to go over now, okay? So hopefully if this works. Please work. It doesn't want to show. No! Hang on a sec. Oh, okay, it's not going to work on there. So hang on, let me do. There we go. Right. So as you can see, that is the different power modules that you can use, or ways of producing power, and how much each will actually produce. So obviously the solar panels, which is this area in the front, will produce you 500 units output per hour. Obviously that's not going to really run a lot, should we say. So what I would recommend is using the solar panels as more of a backup. Plus obviously being that it's a Dell product, it is going to be a later game thing to do. So obviously you got your bio modules, your coal modules, and your diesel modules. Sorry. So what you'll do is go into your shop under placeables, and it's going to be under this one here. Okay, your PV factory modules. And there you go. So there's your bio module, your coal module, and diesel. Obviously, cheap. Each one is priced according to the amount of power that it will give off. So obviously your power module, yeah, bio module, I should say, will produce you 1,000 outputs per hour. Your coal is going to be 2,500 per hour, and then your diesel is going to be 3,500 an hour. So yeah, and with these, what I'd recommend really is if you've only got a factory with maybe 1 or 2 lines running, is to go with the bio modules. And with them, what you want to do is, I don't think I've actually got any. Oh, I haven't got any space, unfortunately. But what you want to do is place it down something like that, okay? So that the rectangle part is within the little yellow section line at the back, okay? Also, depending on where you are, you might have to rotate it around. But yeah, that is how you want them placed down. So obviously, like how I've got the diesels there, you got the diesel generator actually at the front, and then the power is produced at the back. And as you can see up here, when you've got too much power, they'll actually produce additional power pallets. And with them, you can actually sell them if you wanted to as well. Oops, didn't mean to put that there. I'll sell that later. So one option you can actually do as well is sell any extra power. So let's bring this up. This is probably the easiest way of doing it. Right at the bottom of the menu for the power companies, you've got power sales. Obviously I should have had that turned on, so I'll leave that on now. So any excess power you've got that isn't being used can actually be sold, and you can make money that way as well. It's not a lot, but yeah, it will clear fairly fast, I suppose. Obviously some of these have been disabled because obviously you've got so much power that it's not really worthwhile keep it going. Obviously you can do your power sharing if you wanted to, and so on. So I'm going to leave that there. But yeah, with the batteries, you place it down there that you get from Dell, and I don't know, I think it's one an hour roughly will pop up in these areas here. So obviously I've had a pallet here for a while now. What you can actually do with the ones on this map compared to say Uncharted, you can actually recharge these ones. So once it depletes in the light kits or the pallet movers or feed towers, you can actually bring them back here, put them back onto that one of these stations or one of these trigger spots, because obviously he's be picked up. It will actually recharge it, and you can just reuse it. So you could actually have, say, one pallet of batteries will produce all these, and then just use them if you wanted to. If you wanted more, you can do. And obviously, like the other modules, you can actually produce additional power here, which could be sold if you wanted to. Just, if you find that they're not disappearing very quickly, just lift them up like what I just did there, drop them back down, and it should then start feeding back into the system. Obviously, one thing I do need to do really is, if I get a chance, is to actually get some of the factories on here up and running again, and that will clear that. Ooh, donuts. So yeah, and obviously you got your, in addition, obviously you got each of them. As you go on, you will need to upgrade. So I definitely recommend just maybe starting off with a couple of these in your power company. Once you start getting more factories going, up to the coal, and then up to your diesel, which is your final one, which will produce you tons and tons. Okay, guys. But yeah, this is this sort of thing that I'm on about your light kits. So these three here, they'll take the batteries that you get from Dell and power it up at the power stations. That's for these, and then obviously you got your pallet movers and your feed towers. Okay, they will take the batteries that you need to charge up. Obviously you got, like I said, you got 4 different power companies. You got one down south here. You got Duke up here. Oh, where are you? There. Obviously I've got diesels in everyone, I think, on this side of the map. I believe up the top I should have coal, if I remember rightly. Yeah, we've got coal up here. Obviously you get the smoke coming out of all of them, I believe now, so that it will show that they're actually up and running. And obviously once you drop them down, you just need to open the gates and then drop the product or whatever it is that you need. So you could be your wood chips or silage, say, for your bio modules. Obviously your coal takes coal and your diesel takes diesel. It's pretty simple, really. And then obviously the final one, which is over here, which is your American Electric. There you go, they'll just kick straight in, see, visually. Looks like the last 3 of mine aren't actually up and running at the minute, so probably empty. But obviously this is what they'll look like without any of the solar panels added. So obviously you'll bring your 5 solar panels from Dell plus your pallet batteries, put them into this trigger. Once you've added that last pallet with your batteries or solar panels, this will disappear, and then you'll obviously get the trigger popping. Actually, no, if I remember right, you've 5 solar panels going there. Once you've got that, you'll be able to add your battery pallet into there, and then obviously they'll start producing your 500 units per hour. So there. So obviously that is something that you definitely keep an eye on, okay guys, if you are just starting out, is to try and figure out how much power you're going to need, because each line will be slightly different according to the amount of power you're actually generating. So I'll leave that up for a moment just for you to get, jot that down if you wanted to. Obviously this has gone up on YouTube, so you can rewatch it anytime you want, okay? Obviously the one thing I have done is actually just gone around, made them look a little tidier. So that's gonna be them. But things like Dell, they need a lot of power, so I'd definitely get a good couple of coals placed down for that one. But yeah, obviously the more factories you get up and running, the more power you're going to need to produce. So that's that. Right then. And finally, what I'm just going to do is, obviously you've got the desert over here, okay? Oh, one thing about it, touching on the animal, there is an ocean animal dealer as well, over this side as well. I totally forgot about that. I am sorry, but yeah. You can actually, same as your freshwater one, you can drive up to it and load up if you wanted to. But yeah, there we go. So, there we go. So, let's grab you a minute. Take that off. So, right. Obviously in the desert, I'm just going to touch on this quickly. You have your, when you first start, this will be covered in sand. But what you'll need to do is actually clear the sand and find all the power, the oil well, the crude oil spots. Now they don't have a big visual on them, so you have to actually get quite close to them before they actually show up. See, there you go. See how close that was before that actually popped in? So if I just reverse, see, so you have to be very close camera really, I suppose, before you actually see them. See, if I zoom out even a little bit, it disappears. So you could actually go right past one if you zoomed right out. So obviously try and keep in pretty close if you can. And this is these black spots. This is sat on. This is what you're looking for, okay, guys? These are your oil wells. What you need to do is obviously get your oil derricks, and can I remember what they're called? Hang on. But what you get them from Black Diamond, which is up north. So you want your oil derricks. So that's going to be your pump, the thing that's going up and down there in the background. And then your oil drill shafts, and that's going to be a pipes type thing. See, as you can see, I've got a fair bit already stored up. Obviously, they do have a set lifetime, as it were. So I'd keep an eye on. You can't really keep an eye on them, to be honest. You just let them run and stuff. So if I show you Black Diamond a little bit quickly, which is up here, and it's in amongst this lot where Campbell's and the Shell places. There we go. So here you go. So it's gonna be this one here, okay? And obviously trigger to put you load into is this one. Let's see if I get rid of some of these now. I hate trying to pick things up and put them in triggers because you can lose your hand. Here you go. Drop that there. There we go, that's cool. Obviously visually you'll get them spawning inside here. Obviously you've got two doors, you've got one down here, one up the top there. Obviously one thing with the map now is DashNet has actually added lots of these little displays around, so you can actually see exactly what products are in there and how much you need, and how much is actually in there at the minute. So for instance, steel, I've got 38%, pipes 100%, so that's full, motors, which is 84%, plates, which I do need some more of, which is empty, your parts, which I've got 12%, wire 47%, and then obviously you do need power for this one from PSEG, which is this one just right behind you. So that is what you're going to need. Once you've got all that in there, you can actually start producing these oil derricks or oil pumps, and they will spawn right here. Okay. One thing I will say, guys, when you're spawning things, sometimes they will actually spawn underneath the floor, and to actually get them back out is what a little trick that a few people have figured out now is to actually turn your autoloader on, and then flip the trailer upside down. It's a bit of a tricky, but it is doable. Okay. The reason you need to try and get rid of them is as time goes on, it'll actually become more and more hard to actually spawn things out. So yeah, obviously that's one of your oil pumps. And then over this side, this is obviously the visuals of them being built. And then you got your derricks and your I can never remember what they're being called. It's terrible, isn't it? So your shafts, that's it. Your drill shafts over there, which are at 100%, and obviously your oil derricks, which are these things here, your pumps, which is 87%. Obviously, for some reason, this hasn't disappeared, even though it's been added. And obviously, then you've got this door here, up the ramp, from where you drop off your products, that you can actually drive in. It's a little bit tricky, but it is doable with a double trailer to swing in here and then down, round, and out the bottom door. So that's that. Okay, guys. So, with that being said, so that's the fish covered today. Okay, I can get rid of that now. There we go, cool. I forgot I left that up. So that's the fish cover today, okay? So that was the first half hour or so. Then we touched on the power companies. Hopefully it's helped you out a little bit to understand what you need to have placed to be able to actually run your factories well. Obviously, I think when I actually started, I just dropped about 3 or 4 coal modules down myself. I think I might have had 1 or 2 of the bios, but that's about it really. And then obviously your desert products there, which can be built there. Obviously, once you get on and on and on, you can actually understand where everything comes from. Once you've transported the derricks and the wells and all that down here, pipes, what you need to do is obviously unload it onto the actual trigger, add 1 pallet of your the pipes from up there. Why can't I ever remember them? But one thing you do need to do as well is add some diesel to these things to get them actually running. Which is kind of daft, you've got to add diesel to get diesel. Oh, excuse me. So let me just bring this up a sec so I can see where the actual boxes are. Right, so in this area here, before you get any of the silos on the outside of the desert built, your pallets will spawn here, okay, for your crude oil. One thing that's also been added is pipeline. It's basically an invisible pipeline that will transport those pallets into the silos at the edge of the map, or the desert, I should say. So this is what these guys are for. This is for holding your crude oil, okay? So if I just pop into there, so see, so far I've got 500,657 litres stored just in there, and obviously each one, there's 3 others. So you got that one there, there's one down here, and there's one over here, okay? Each one is linked to different set of wells, as it were. One thing, obviously, it was with those being added, what you'll find in this area over here, you will find that there's an additional trigger to load into, and what you'll need is to get your motors. I think it's about 20 pallets of motors from the Dell factory, plus I think there's about 5 pallets of pipe, which is made at the steel factory. Once you've done that, you can then actually have them auto-loaded into here. Obviously, what you can do is, obviously there's two ways you can actually collect out of these now. The first way is obviously use, and let me pull up so I get the name right, is going to be the oil carrier, this thing. You get that, it holds 1,000,000 litres, which is not a lot but a fair bit, enough to start off with anyway. And all you'd have to do is literally drive it around in around this area here. Okay, you're gonna find a trigger, but you've got to get quite close to be able to get it. Also, once you get into the trigger, you can actually then load up the crude oil, then transport it to wherever you need to. Obviously, at the minute, it's the Shell refinery, which will produce you diesel, hexane, and plastic. And the other one is obviously Alcoa, which is your copper sheets and um, lead sheets, is it? Cool. This is not good. Aluminium sheets, there you go. That one. Another way you can actually do is if you've got a tanker, you can actually reverse up to the back here, to this area here, and actually just have it slightly over the side, and you'll still get the trigger that way if you want to transport it by tank instead. So hopefully that's going to help you out, guys. I'm going to jump off now because obviously Dajnet is going live on Twitch, and I just want to pop in and have a little chat with him. So obviously if you've got any questions, you're more welcome to jump onto my Twitch channel or pop it in as a comment on YouTube. So I will see you again soon, guys. Let me just pop this over here, and I will hopefully be back on Monday. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.